According to the 2005 National Electrical Code, specifically Section 680.21b3, ground fault circuit interrupter protection is required for spas, but not for hot tubs. Furthermore, Section 680.26b mandates ground fault circuit interrupter protection for swimming pool pumps, filters, and similar equipment only when connected to 120-volt single-phase branch circuits. Section 680.26b2 specifically addresses underwater lighting, requiring that each swimming pool underwater light fixture is to be protected by a ground fault circuit interrupter. The National Electrical Code Handbook provides additional clarity, stating in several locations that ground fault circuit interrupter protection is generally not required for 240 volts pool pump motors, automatic pool cleaner pumps, or heat pumps. The reasoning behind this exception is that these types of loads do not utilize the neutral wire for proper operation. To understand this better, it's important to delve into the basics of ground fault circuit interrupters and their function, then how they interact with different types of electrical loads. A ground fault circuit interrupter is a safety device designed to protect individuals from electrical shock. It works by monitoring the current flowing into and out of a circuit. In a properly functioning circuit, the current flowing into the circuit through the hot wire should be equal to the current flowing out of the circuit through the neutral wire. If there's a difference in current, it indicates that some of the current is leaking to ground, which could happen if someone were to accidentally touch a live wire or if there's a fault in the equipment. Ground fault circuit interrupters are designed to detect this difference in current, even a very small difference, and quickly trip the circuit, cutting off the power and preventing electrical shock. This is typically a current imbalance of 5 milliamps or more. The National Electrical Code aims to reduce the risk of electrical shock hazards associated with swimming pools. This is especially important in wet environments where the risk of electric shock is increased. Water is a good conductor of electricity. Therefore, it's essential to implement safety measures such as ground fault circuit interrupters to protect people from electrical hazards around swimming pools. Now let's examine why 240-volt pool equipment, such as pumps, heaters, and automatic cleaners, generally do not require ground fault circuit interrupter protection, especially when they don't utilize a neutral wire. These devices are typically connected to a 240-volt circuit that consists of two hot wires and a ground wire. There is no neutral wire in this configuration. The equipment operates by drawing current between the two hot wires. If there is a fault that causes current to leak to ground, the ground fault circuit interrupter would detect this imbalance and trip the circuit, but in the absence of a neutral wire, the standard ground fault circuit interrupter operation is not applicable. In a 120-volt circuit with a neutral, the ground fault circuit interrupter monitors the current difference between the hot and neutral wires. However, in a 240-volt circuit without a neutral, the equipment is designed so that current flows between the two hot wires and returns through the other hot wire. In this scenario, a traditional ground fault circuit interrupter would not function as intended since it's expecting current to return through the neutral wire. Instead, in these applications, equipment grounding conductors are used to provide a path for fault current to return to the source. This activates the overcurrent protection device, such as a circuit breaker, to trip and disconnect the power. It is very important to note that even though ground fault circuit interrupter protection may not be required for certain 240 volts pool equipment, proper grounding is still essential. Grounding ensures that any fault current will safely return to the electrical panel, tripping the circuit breaker and preventing electrical shock. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions and local electrical codes when installing and maintaining pool equipment. Furthermore, always engage with a qualified electrician to ensure that all electrical connections are made correctly and that the equipment is properly grounded. Keep in mind that the National Electrical Code is updated regularly, so it's essential to refer to the latest edition to ensure compliance. The absence of a neutral connection in many 240 volts pool equipment designs plays a crucial role in why ground fault circuit interrupter protection is often not required. The ground fault circuit interrupter works by detecting imbalances between the current flowing in the hot and neutral wires. When there is no neutral wire present, the ground fault circuit interrupter cannot effectively monitor this current imbalance. Instead, the equipment relies on proper grounding to provide a safe path for fault current and activate the circuit breaker in the event of a fault. Here's a more detailed look at how these systems are designed to work safely. Firstly, the 240 volts equipment is connected to a circuit with two hot wires and a ground wire. Secondly, the equipment is designed to draw current between the two hot wires without using a neutral wire. Thirdly, if a fault occurs, such as a short circuit or insulation failure, current will flow through the grounding conductor back to the electrical panel. Fourthly, this fault current will cause the circuit breaker to trip, disconnecting the power and preventing electrical shock. It's important to recognize that while ground fault circuit interrupters are not typically required for 240 volts pull equipment without a neutral, this does not diminish the importance of electrical safety. Proper grounding is still essential. It is important to follow all applicable electrical codes and regulations to ensure the safety of the swimming pool area. Always consult with a qualified electrician to determine the specific ground fault circuit interrupter requirements for pool equipment. The electrician can assess the specific wiring configuration and local code requirements to provide the best recommendations. While the National Electrical Code provides general guidelines, local codes and regulations may have additional requirements or exceptions. These local codes may vary depending on the jurisdiction and the specific circumstances of the pool installation. It is always essential to check with the local authorities to ensure compliance with all applicable codes. If you are unsure about any aspect of electrical safety related to your swimming pool, do not hesitate to seek the advice of a qualified electrician. Electricians are trained to identify and address electrical hazards and can provide valuable guidance on how to maintain a safe swimming pool environment. Remember that electrical safety is paramount, especially in wet environments such as swimming pools. By understanding the requirements for ground fault circuit interrupter protection and following all applicable codes and regulations, you can help to ensure the safety of yourself, your family, and your community. In summary, while ground fault circuit interrupter protection is generally not required for 240 volts pool equipment that does not utilize a neutral wire, proper grounding is essential to ensure electrical safety. Always consult with a qualified electrician and follow all applicable codes and regulations to maintain a safe swimming pool environment. Always prioritize safety and take the necessary precautions to protect yourself and others from electrical hazards. Ignoring safety precautions can lead to serious injury or even death. Electrical safety should be a top priority for anyone who owns or operates a swimming pool.